Welcome back to Doc Morgan's Metal Reviews. I am Doc Morgan, and today we are reviewing Obscura's Diluvium. So, Obscura, German progressive technical death metal band. Subgenre game is on point with that one. Their first release, Retribution, burst onto the scene in 2006. Now, while Retribution firmly planted Obscura's feet in the technical death metal arena with their noodly guitar work and mucking about with time signatures, it would be the next release, Cosmogenesis, that made people's heads snap to attention. Cosmogenesis was the first of a 4-album long concept cycle, and it was some damn good shit. The next two albums, Omnivium and Acrosis? I have no idea how to pronounce that. I'm calling it Acrosis, fuck you. Omnivium and Acrosis were quality albums too, in their own way, maybe suffering from some of the problems inherent in some of Obscura's proggy tendencies. So how does Diluvium hold up? Well, I mean, let's find out. Okay, so this album is easily head and shoulders above the last two. Obscura have always punched with the two gloves of prog metal and death metal. The last two albums I just feel like they've been, punched with one hand behind their back. Cosmogenesis was undoubtedly a great balance of the two, but they were definitely leaning towards their proggier side of things in Omnivium and Acrosis. One of the big things I'm getting from Diluvium is this real return to balance that made Cosmogenesis just that cut above the rest. Some people, they prefer the prog side of things, and that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with prog metal. I love me some proggy shit every now and again. The problem with Obscura was that they had demonstrated this proficiency in keeping the balance between tech. Bastard! Sorry, I just got bit. I'll explain later. Where was I? Yeah, my big problem with Obscura was that they were able to have this demonstrable balance between prog and technical death metal, and yet in Omnivium and Acrosis they just kind of started leaning towards the prog style, which was not what I gotten used to in Cosmogenesis. I listened to Cosmogenesis and I was like, yeah, fucking more of this. It just got proggy as shit, and I was like, it's good, but it's not my cup of chai tea. Despite it being about the same length as the other albums, Diluvium didn't feel nearly as much of a slog to sit through. Although maybe that's not a length issue. I think it might be that this is one of Obscura's more accessible albums. From beginning to end, the album just kind of went by maybe a little quicker than the other albums. It just definitely it wasn't hard to sit through. If you're new to the band, or if you're new to this kind of genre, this wouldn't be the worst album to start off with. It sounds like the band had a lot more fun writing this album. The songs just feel so much more natural, more creative. It's the last album in a 4-part concept cycle, and it would have been impossible to write this album in a vacuum. There's no way of not making this album a response in some way to its predecessor. The songs sound so much like the result of just a much more natural writing process. The creative juices just flowed with these, and they weren't forced out like a sharp poo that you hear on some albums. There's some songs on some albums you just know, the band wrote this just to fill out an album. Whereas on Diluvium, there are no filler tracks. This album from beginning to end is just pure bangers. It really does, I can't stress this enough, it hits that perfect balance of prog and tech, while having some great solos, some pure death metal moments, all without feeling like it's going too far out of its way to tick all the boxes, while still smashing every single one of those fucking boxes. If you want some spidery, high-speed guitar work, it's all here. You want some proggy goodness, got you covered. You need some good technical shit, it's everywhere. The production on this album is stellar. It's brutal, but it's clear. The guitar work and the solos are every bit as impressive as the band would have us expect, but it's the focus on the bass that impresses me. The songs have carved out this little patch of the stage for the bass work to shine, and it is There are some moments, particularly in Mortification of the Vulgar Son, where I'm really struck by a similarity in vocal technique to Japanese artist Cadenza with this, I don't know how to describe it, it's like this overdub frying vocal technique. Let's have a listen. And speaking of vocal technique, in a lot of songs there's this clean, synthesized, almost robotic sounding voice that just gets it sprinkled here and there in some songs. Have a listen. I'm not going to lie to you, I don't like it. I understand and respect what they're trying to go for. It's a nice touch of variation and depth, but to me it sounds like someone talking into a toilet. It's in enough of the songs for me to mark points off the album, but it's drizzled just lightly enough that it doesn't annoy me too much. Standout track on the album for me personally is Ethereal Skies. The sheer technicality on this song, the vocals, the bass work, the drumming, everything is top notch, and holy shit, that orchestral bit. Now, anybody who knows me knows I am a sucker for symphonic metal, so this track is easily my personal favorite of the whole album. Do you want in the video? Do you want to come in the video? Everybody say hello, this is George. George, say hi. Overall, Obscura have crafted an excellent album. As I said, probably their most accessible. It's a good starting point for anyone looking to get into them or the genre. Like, if you want to take just one song off the album, just, you know, to give you a taste of what the whole album is like, I would go with the final song on the album, Epilogue to Infinity. Fuck off. Epilogue to Infinity. You know, not my favorite track on the album. I do think it's probably the best written one. But trust me when I say you should sit down and listen to this album, beginning to end, just to wind up on that last song. While it is impressive, I do feel this album is focusing more on ticking all the right boxes and not pulling out something to wow. A lot of this album is par for the course with Obscura, and just being better than their previous two albums isn't merit enough to hold a ticker tape parade any day soon. It is an impressive as fuck album. It is good, but it takes more than just being good to get top marks here. I will admit I don't often hang out in this particular corner of the metal world, so I can't go judging it for not being my taste. I'm not going to go judging a fish for its tree climbing abilities. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10.